Dana White just got on Instagram Live, dropped some crazy news on a random Wednesday, as usual. So we're going to break it down. We got a lot of new fights. We got the Justin Gaethje replacement for UFC 313. We got the Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva matchup. Josh Emmett, Lerone Murphy, which we haven't talked about yet. We got Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree coming out of the blue.
You're just spoiling all the fights. They don't even need to watch the whole video anymore.
They already know. They've seen the video.
All I know is that clearly they brought in someone new for matchmaking because, like, you know, for the longest time, I swear we were getting, like, you know, we were getting name value, but the fights weren't that good. But, like, whoever is in charge of matchmaking right now is actually making, like, good quality fights. Like, I swear all these fights from, like, we look at 314, the quality of fight is just unreal.
Yeah, that might be the best pay-per-view of the year so far. I think.
And you get mad at me for saying that 314 is going to be amazing. You're like, oh, you're going to jinx it.
I said it might be. You said it will be. There's a difference.
Did you see the video I sent to the group chat though after?
Which one?
Of me knocking on wood.
Oh yeah. You don't want that one to get out of the group chat. All right, shall we talk about Gaethje replacement first?
Yeah, can we talk about these odds are wrong on screen here.
Why?
Justin Gaethje's the underdog in this fight right now.
Really?
I looked at like the betting app, and Fiziev is somehow the favorite.
Even if it is close, like on the UFC website it has Gaethje at -155 and Fiziev at 130. Even if it's that close, that's really surprising.
This morning I looked, Fiziev was like -150 and Justin Gaethje +120.
That's wild.
I was so tempted to cook up that Gaethje Pereira parlay.
Gaethje, you can't risk it on Gaethje, man. You can't.
I think that people are taking a little bit too much into that knockout, but you never know. That could be his Tony Ferguson knockout. You never know. That's the issue with these fighters coming off these huge KOs. Like Gaethje was out cold,
but he has taken almost a full year off. Yeah, so he did it the right way.
Hey, we do see fighters come back after those knockouts. You know, Bryce Mitchell. You know, he came back.
Against Kron Gracie. Yeah, and his intelligence is clearly still all there.
Hey, but that's for a later point of this.
Yeah. But what do you think? Do you think Fiziev, because we had the Gamrot, we had the Fiziev, people want Topuria, which was never ever gonna happen.
Topuria got declined. Armin said he'd fight at 160,
but the UFC
said no,
which is ridiculous. I think if Armin said yes, I would have done that.
They're probably like, this guy's not making 160 regardless.
A little fatty.
This guy's 200 pounds right now, like
100%.
Yeah, I think it was really at the end of the day between Fiziev versus Gamrot, and obviously you're gonna take this rematch here.
Yeah, I think like as some hardcores are complaining that Fiziev doesn't really deserve it. There's not like. We've seen the fight.
It's a fight on 2 weeks' notice, guys. It's not like we're booking a fresh card here. It's a fight on less than 2 weeks' notice. We will take what we can get.
But if, let's say, both Gamrot and Fiziev said yes, who would you rather take this fight? Yeah, I think they're trying to replace the spectacle of it. You know, Dan Hooker versus Gaethje, it was put on the Pereira card because you know it's going to be a banger.
We were going to see murder.
Exactly. So they're trying to salvage a little bit of that because Fiziev is still a high-level kickboxer. Hasn't fought in a little bit, but you know he's going to come out there and throw hands.
I have a question. Where is he from? Azerbaijan? Azerbaijan? I have not heard of that one before.
The more you know. Yeah, and the title shot. Like, if Gaethje gets a title shot after beating Fiziev, I can't do this. UFC's cooked.
He knows that he's not getting the title shot after this.
You never know. If
Ilya's right there.
I know, but
Armin's still there.
You
know, and obviously this fight was offered to the big dogs. Yeah. You know, Charles said no. Holloway obviously said no. Hooker said yes. I'll take this fight.
His coach said no. I think Moicano could have been interesting, but again, you're not like...
Moicano supposedly said no.
He just had that fight with Makhachev, which was also short notice, kind of. So it's just a weird situation.
Yeah, that could be the start of a downfall. You know, Moicano, it was probably smarter that he said no.
Yeah, I would say so. Like, this is still a good card. I would say that UFC 313 has been downgraded, like, quite a bit because it was really top heavy, those two fights. This is also a 3-round fight. We got to talk about that.
I didn't know that until the rumors came out that it was 3 rounds, and I was like, this makes no sense.
Well, it does. You can't expect Fiziev.
No, it was 3 rounds Gaethje versus Poirier. Apparently, I heard it was 3 rounds Gaethje versus Poirier. I don't know how true that is.
Wait, what do you mean Gaethje versus Poirier?
Sorry, Gaethje versus Hooker was supposed to be 3 rounds.
No, that was always going to be 5
rounds. Are we sure? Because I was hearing 5, and then I guess it's 3 now, which makes sense. We're going to get 3 rounds of all-out war, hopefully.
Hopefully.
But
I think Gaethje's a little bit more defensive now. You know, he's kind of he's still a brawler. Obviously, that's how you can classify Gaethje, but he's not as crazy as he was in those Charles fights and the first Dustin fight.
And all it takes with Gaethje's one. You know, he only needs one, and we've seen that before with him.
Yeah, and how are the leg kicks on Fiziev after that long of a layoff? Like Justin Gaethje's leg kicks might be pretty brutal on Fiziev.
It's still a fight that it's like, yeah, it's not Gaethje versus Hooker.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to see World War III inside the octagon. Okay?
No, I don't think we want that either. that's a little bit too close to home right now.
What was the chance that someone died in that fight? Like 50%?
They were both going to the hospital for sure.
yeah, like they had the ambulances ready. They may have one now.
Yeah.
You know? But I mean, I'm still super excited to see this fight.
Yeah, I think it'll play out. Like, I don't want to be boring, but I think it'll play out similar to their first fight. You know, Fiziev always starts strong in the first rounds and then kind of falls off in that later second round, and then the third round falls off big time. And on short notice, he's been training for a while for a fight. He said he's been looking for a fight, but it's not the same. A full camp is not the same as just casually training.
Yeah, and it's funny because Fiziev like came out, I think it was like last week, and he's like, why does the UFC not accept any of my fights? He's like, I just want to fight. Like, I bring these things up. They're like, no. Like, why are you overlooking me for everything, guys?
Well, now he's got his shot. But I think probably a Gaethje decision is the way I'd lean. Like, that's the most logical thing.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. The reason they book Fiziev, he could get a head kick KO. You never know.
Either one of them could knock out the other one.
Exactly.
I mean, it's no Hooker, but it's still like a fight where it's like, if we didn't have Gaethje versus Hooker already booked and we got this fight, we'd be like, oh, this is going to be awesome. You know, it's a step down. If that was a 10, this is an 8.
Yeah,
you know, I think that's a fair shout.
That's fair to say. Also added to the 314 card, Bryce Mitchell, Gene Silva got his wish, called him out, and the UFC hopped right on it.
They were all for it.
Yeah,
I mean,
smart.
Take advantage of this fight. The thing is, you book this fight 314 next month, April.
Mm-hmm.
Way more hype. You carry that hype coming off of this last KO for Gene Silva, and then the win that he had and like the call out. Whereas if you would have had this, we'll say 4 or 5 months down the road, 316, 317, you lose some of that hype. They're capitalizing on this hype of Gene Silva and also this hate of Bryce Mitchell.
That's what I was gonna say. The hate of Bryce Mitchell too.
They are capitalizing on it, and it's like, Gene Silva, he's pulling up his Diego Lopez run right now.
He is, yeah. And the Hamzat Chimaev 2020.
He, in the group chat this morning, he's like, prime Hamzat question mark?
I mean, he's done it. So I think last year he fought 2 weeks back to back. Now this is like pretty much a month and a half layoff. Like, he's getting after it, and this is his chance to get ranked. So now that he'll be in the rankings with a win here, you could see some really exciting matchups in the top 10, top 5 of them.
And I realistically think Gene Silva wins this fight. He's 1 win away from the belt.
You could argue,
You got to think about it. Like, outside of guys like Volk, Lopez, Evloev, who else is up there? In the rankings still, it's Ilya. Max is still ranked, or is Max gone from it?
I believe Max is still ranked.
Max is still ranked. Yair's still ranked. They're not giving another title shot to that guy.
Once Patricio Pitbull wins, he'll be ranked.
Ortega, like, the thing is, like, the guys at the top, they're a little bit old, or they're like outside of Lopez and Evloev, you know? So it's like, there's room for someone to hop right in there.
I know that they wouldn't do this, and it's a long shot, but let's say Gene Silva wins this match. Lopez loses the interim fight. Lopez versus Silva.
It's not an interim.
Oh, sorry. The real featherweight belt. Yeah. the real. Silva versus Lopez would be such a Mexico City main event.
Oh,
how hype would that be?
That fight would be so good, but I wouldn't want to watch it.
It's like, who do you want to win? I think this fight is a lot closer than people think. Like, I've seen some MMA YouTubers like Bedtime. Gene Silva he thinks Gene Silva is just going to run through Bryce Mitchell. I actually think if you watch the Charles Jourdain fight back, and I know that Gene Silva's improved, and I think Charles Jourdain might have been a little bit short notice for him, but if Charles Jourdain could take him down and hold him down a little bit, you never know what Bryce Mitchell can do. Like, Bryce Mitchell had a good chin in the Ilya fight. Ilya didn't KO him; he subbed him. And but then the Josh Emmett happened.
Yeah.
So we'll see how the chin is. Obviously, there's a big chance that with Gene Silva's speed, like, it's crazy. You can get KO'd at any second. And Bryce Mitchell isn't really he doesn't have pop on his shots. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's going to try to take this fight to the ground.
Which he should.
Yeah, and I think that we're really going to see if Gene Silva is a well-rounded prospect. You know, we're really going to see his BJJ on notice in this fight, which is exciting because we haven't really truly had to see it.
Yeah, well, nothing crazy like the defensive side of things. I think it's almost like you look at, we thought that our boy Talbot had good
I don't know if I ever said those words.
We thought he was a well-rounded version of Sean O'Malley, and then he gets absolutely dominated by I can't remember any names right now. I couldn't remember Talbot's name.
This is what happens. This is another afternoon film session.
I can't do it, man.
Full day of work, full day of school. You know.
Yeah. Frick. You know who he got fraud checked by?
The Mexican guy.
Yeah,
No, Brazilian.
The Brazilian guy.
He was probably a Silva.
Let's call him Rodriguez. That sounds cool.
Rodriguez Silva?
Rodriguez Silva, average Brilliant name. No, not Ricky Tercios.
No, Rich.
Peony Barcelos.
Yep, that's it.
Look
at you go. Yeah, I think that, the odds, have you seen the odds for this fight?
I haven't.
Gene Silva's like minus 550.
Jeez.
Like, I think those are a little bit outrageous for like what this fight is. But I mean, at the same time, if I cook up a parlay, he's still going in the parlay.
Oh, for sure.
He's still going in the parlay. Like, I'm still confident in Gene Silva.
Yeah.
Just not at the odds that they have. Like, those odds are like, he's an 80% chance of winning. Like, I'd put him at like 65, 70.
And it's just, you have the Jeff Neal fight with Carlos Prates and now this fight on Miami. It seems like a little bit too good to be true for the fighting nerds, you know?
You think one of them loses?
Well, I don't like.
Obviously, I don't want either of them to lose.
If I had to put money, I would. Well, no, not money. If I had to choose, I would pick both of them to win in their fights. But it's also like, it's just a fairy tale story.
If you had to pick one of them to lose, though, who's losing?
I think the Jeff Neal boxing is
I think that cracked. Like Prates versus Jeff Neal might be a little bit tougher, but I mean that's also a different level.
Yeah,
I'd say Prates is probably a fight or two ahead of Gene Silva at this point. I mean technically it'd be one fight because if Gene Silva wins this, he's 13. I think Prates is 13 right now.
Yeah.
So I mean it's still gonna be super interesting. This press conference, you got like Lopez and Lopez and Volk. We're cooked. Silva. Bryce Mitchell, like there's gonna be some good moments on.
I hope they do a full panel for it.
They better.
Yeah.
They better. Because then thing is with the full panel too is you have like everyone ganging up on Bryce Mitchell. Like everyone's gonna get their shots in. And then you even have like maybe we have Gene and Carlos like teaming up a little bit, running a little duo squads.
All right. Are we gonna talk about the Josh Emmett Lerone Murphy fight?
Yeah, we can talk about it quickly.
Yeah.
Main eventing, fight night. Ohio?
Isn't it? It's the weird. It's like the most random city ever. It's not Iowa. It's Des Moines. Is it Des Moines?
I think Des Moines in Iowa. Yeah, something like
that.
Some middle Central American state.
Yeah, flatland.
Probably a lot of Mormons. No coffee.
Yeah, I think this is a good matchup to make. Josh Emmett's coming off like a almost 2-year layoff now. Lerone Murphy, his biggest win over Dan Ige. He's ranked now. Why is he ranked 10th in featherweight? What happened to this division? Beats 14th ranked Ige.
No, because Ige, they bumped him down a bunch. I swear he was 11 or 12, and now he's 10. Who knows? But, I mean, if you're Lerone Murphy and they're like, yeah, you get to fight one of the vets of featherweight, Josh Emmett might be the last one on the list that you want to fight.
Yeah.
Like, this is a real test right here. The people who beat Josh Emmett are legit contenders. I don't know if Lerone's on that level.
It's going to be close. I think the odds will be close for this one. Obviously, with an undefeated prospect, the odds makers and people betting are
minus 300.
I'd be like
Josh Emmett.
But Josh Emmett has that KO power. I think this is just going to be a battle of the Josh Emmett overhand versus the ranginess of Lerone Murphy. Like Lerone Murphy has good fundamental kickboxing, but like he doesn't have grit, he doesn't have heart. Josh Emmett does have that kind of just dog in him. Mm-hmm. Even though he's listed as a wrestler on UFC 5, that nasty overhand, just spam.
It's so tough too in this fight because we have that huge layoff of Josh Emmett. By the time of this fight, we're looking at April. That's 15, 16 months, which is really weird for someone to have the KO of the year and then not fight for 16 months is so strange.
I don't know if he got injured or what. Like
mental health leave. Like I almost killed a guy. Like, do I want to keep doing this?
Getting the tattoos removed.
But, another fight night we have like basically the whole main card of
Kansas,
St. Louis. Nope, that's a different. Another.
We're not from America, clearly. Kansas City, the Chiefs. Jamal Hill just recently got drafted to the Chiefs, so he said, "All right, I'll go fight in Kansas." Khalil Roundtree, though, getting his shot up in the rankings again, which he deserves.
Well deserved.
Yeah, I think this is a great fight. I think casuals might look at this and say, it's easy to MMA math it, right? Khalil Roundtree went 4 rounds with Pereira, knocked him down. Yeah, you got dominated. I got caught. That's the difference between these two guys, all right? But I think Jamal Hill, You know, I bet on him against Yuri Prohaska, and I'm not going to make that mistake again.
No.
He's plotty. He doesn't have good footwork. I think the main thing he has going for him in this fight is going to be his gas tank versus Roundtree. But Roundtree had his first 5-round experience. So
And he went for, I mean, he had the 2 rounds.
He wasn't conscious for one of the rounds.
I think that Khalil's coming into this fight differently. You know, you're fighting Jamal Hill versus Alex Pereira. It's a different thing. Khalil Roundtree was like, I'm going to try to beat him early. You know, I'm not going to late rounds.
Which I think was a decent strategy.
Yeah. You know what? He put up the best fight we've seen anyone put up against him outside of Jan Blachowicz, inside of the light heavyweight division.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of Alex Pereira title defenses or championship fights, it was the best effort by anyone. You know, so we have to give him that credit. He's not, I mean, I can't say for certain. I would assume he's not going to take that same approach, but you never know. Maybe he's like, I've seen Jamal Hill get clipped in his last 2 fights. He got knocked out. Let me get him early. You know, let me wobble him early and just dominate and control this fight. You know?
I think like the Glover, the time and period where Jamal Hill fought Glover, I would definitely bet on Jamal Hill in this fight. But coming off that, this is a while ago now, but coming off the leg injury, KO, and then another KO, it's just for his confidence, it can't be good. And I understand that.
Especially when you're low confidence as it is.
True. But I get that he wants to get back in there and kind of, what are you doing? Oh, a stupid tattoo.
Yeah, that's how you can tell he's low confidence.
The worst
bad
tattoo
tattoos.
ever. But I do understand him wanting to get back on the horse and kind of washing away that memory of getting KO'd by Yuri. You want to get over that and get your self-esteem back. But Khalil Roundtree, I don't know if he's the guy to do it against. It's not an easy fight.
It's a tough fight.
Yeah, and especially with Jamal Hill's style. Like, I think the biggest thing is going to be the footwork. Jamal Hill is not fast on his feet. Khalil Roundtree can blitz in. And I think, you know, he's been caught in all of his fights recently, Jamal Hill has. I think he'll probably get caught in this one again. If it's not like, if I had to predict, I would say probably 2nd round TKO.
That's what I was thinking. Was
Khalil
round
Roundtree.
2. Yeah, because I don't know if Roundtree's the type of guy that's going to put him out in 1. Because, you know, with Jamal Hill, we're not seeing him out cold. You know, we're seeing him get knocked down and then he's like 90% and then you just got to finish him off a little bit. But yeah, I want to say that I'm pretty confident in Khalil Roundtree in this fight just because what we've seen from him, you know, over the last little bit. You know, you can't take the Glover fight 2-ish years ago. I think it might even be more than 2 years at this point.
Yeah, it was a while.
But we haven't seen Jamal Hill look that good. He's looked so sloppy, and I think that probably comes from a lack of confidence. You know, he just doesn't look like he did in that Glover fight.
I think he's always looked kind of like that. It's just now the competition is getting a little bit better. The kind of the new generation of light heavyweights, even though they're kind of shit, but they're still there. I think the last thing I want to talk about though is, could we see, if Khalil Roundtree wins and Alberg wins, could we see a title eliminator between them?
You would think that would be the next fight. You know, it's really
Yuri's just in the corner, like.
But here's the thing: it's like it's so interesting right now in light heavyweight. You know, because we have all these guys who have lost to Pereira. You know, you look at the top and they've all lost Pereira outside of Ankalaev. You know, if Ankalaev loses to Pereira, it's like, wow, what do we really do now? You know, unless Pereira moves to heavyweight, because that means vacant title. You know, with the new stipulations.
And then you do like Prohaska versus the winner of this.
It's an interesting thing because we're just going to see guys who have all lost to Pereira fighting each other, and then they're just going to take another shot at Pereira, I guess.
I guess.
Like, honestly, at this point, like...
Rakic title shot?
Right now, if Pereira beats Ankalaev, you'd have to assume, honestly, it might be a little bit too much, but the winner of Jan Blachowicz-Alberg to fight him, you know, because...
it's not crazy.
Jan Blachowicz gave him his toughest matchup, you know, and Jan Blachowicz is very open with
And think
that.
about the storyline of Alberg Adesania's gym.
Oh, City Kickboxing?
They'd eat that up. They would eat that up.
Yeah, like Adesanya in the corner.
It would be hype. It would be sick.
And then Alberg is the only guy really in the top that hasn't fought Pereira, if we're not counting Rakic.
Yeah. We're not.
But yeah, I mean, it should be a good fight, you know? Mm-hmm. I mean, just like to go over a couple more fights on this card, you know, we have Ikram making his return against Andre Muniz, you know, should be an interesting fight.
It'll be fine. Like,
yeah. It's a fight night, you know, it's a main card fight from a fight night. Like, this is a solid main card fight, you know?
Exactly.
Giga Chikadze versus David Onama. This should be a good fight. You know, we have two guys who are prone to putting on pretty good fights going up against each other. Onama's, you think he's going to have to grapple in this fight because the kickboxing of Chikadze is very underrated.
Yeah, but prospects love to be a little bit, I can't say the word, but you know what I mean.
A little bit silly.
Yeah, a little bit dumb when they're trying to get into the rankings or actually take on a hard opponent. So Chikadze's still ranked 11, which I always forget. He's just like, he fights once a year, shows up, usually loses, and hangs around in the rankings.
He's got that Georgian aura, though.
Ooh, that's true.
Except for he doesn't use it.
Yeah, he doesn't really seem like a Georgian fighter, but I think David Onama has a good shot at winning this. He does. He has a problem with his chin a little bit. He's very chinny, so I could see a Giga Chikadze kind of question mark kick KO. It'd be pretty sick. So that's why I think David Onama needs to wrestle, but it's not like the most interesting fight, so we don't need to talk about it too much. The next one I do want to talk about, though, your GOAT, Michel Pereira versus
my guy.
My GOAT, Abus Magomedov. Don't try and act like you're from Germany.
Dude, think about the thumbnail. Pereira versus Magomedov.
Oh, now you're thinking.
Oh, we're blowing up. Oh, I don't know if I showed you. We have a TikTok that's almost at 100K views.
What?
Yeah.
Which one?
Yesterday's. Oh, it's the same one that blew up on Reels and TikTok. It's the Steven Thompson Guess the Fighter by the Resume, and it's just hate on you. So much hate on you for not. How could you not get Wonder Boy? I knew it was him after the win.
Oh, dude.
But like, yeah, like I think
the old heads on TikTok.
It's like over 30K views on Reels.
Wow.
I think we gained like 50 south.
So what you're saying is we need to be artificially dumber.
Yeah, I guess so. Like I already thought we were dumb enough. And then TikTok, I swear we gained like 200 followers and like 100K views.
That's crazy.
Yeah, look at us go.
All right, you got to cook up some more of those videos.
But Michel Pereira versus Magomedov.
Two of the worst gas tanks in the middleweight division. It's going to be great.
This is going to be the Menafield fight all over again, I think.
Oh, yeah, it will be. I think if Michel Pereira, if this makes it out of the first round, it's going to be a very low-level fight. Obviously, Magomedov is going to try and hold him down like Fluffy did. This is a 3-round fight, so you'd think that's better for Pereira. It's better for both of them, but it's even better for Pereira. We could see flying knee, backflip.
He's going to do something fun. He's going to make a comeback. Like he's like, I got totally just humiliated, lost all my aura. He's coming out with something big to start the fight.
Yeah, and it's not like Abus Magomedov. He's not this crazy world beater from Dagestan.
Yeah.
He almost lost to Bruno Ferrer in his last fight. He was 2 seconds away from getting KO'd. So I think Michel Pereira obviously has the power to put him out. It's just going to depend on if he locks in or not.
Yeah. And the final fight we want to talk about, we don't have the picture up here, but I saw this as I was making this. This is probably the fight in the world that I'm the least excited for. It's two of my least favorite fighters.
If you could matchmake a lowest pay-per-view buy fight,
Chito Vera versus Mario Batista.
I mean, it's a good matchup. Like just subjectively, it is a good matchup.
The issue is I'm going to have to root for Chito Vera in a fight.
That's what I'm saying. Chito Vera needs to save us from Mario Batista. And you know what I think? I don't think he will. I honestly don't think he will. I think he's going to get blobbed up against the fence.
I think we overlook Chito just because, like, for some reason they push him against high, like, good opponents. But, like, he also loses all those fights to, like, he lost a song, he lost to those other guys that are like, they're good. And Mario Batista, it's like, is he good?
I think he just has a stupid style. Well, yeah, obviously, but I think it's a style that can work against someone like Chito Vera who starts slow. I guess this probably will be a main event though. Like this is going to be a main event, so it's going to be 5 rounds. So I guess that does favor Chito because he does start 2 rounds. He's guaranteed to lose the first 2 rounds. Almost
his gas tank's unreal. But the thing is with Chito Vera is against Mario Batista, you don't get to capitalize on your greatest asset, his chin. His chin is a non-factor because Mario Batista probably won't throw any significant strikes.
No.
So it's like,
yeah, it's going to be a very bad fight night if I had to predict.
Did you see, one more thing. Did you see that Brendan Allen and Kyle Barajo are fighting on Karate Combat on Friday?
Yeah. Kyle Barajo's getting bored waiting for the middleweight division.
It's like, I just need to fight. Brendan Allen's like 1 week post-fight.
Post-depression?
Yeah, he's like lost to Fluffy again.
Feels bad.
But that's going to wrap it up for us today. Go down to those comments. Let us know which fighter you guys are the most excited for. Lucas, which fighter are you the most excited for?
I want to say one thing before that. Let us know if you're coming from the TikTok video.
Oh.
I promise I'm not that dumb. What fight am I looking forward to the most? I think it's going to be the Bryce Mitchell fight. Like, you kind of just want to see him get beat up at this point. But then I think the best matchup here is Jamal Hill versus Khalil Rountree.
Yeah, or even, like, these are all good matches. Like, I was even thinking sneaky Josh Emmett versus Lemero Murphy,
Sneaky, crafty Josh Emmett.
Yeah.
The vet.
But go down down in those comments. Let us know which fight you guys are most excited for while you guys are down there. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. Appreciate all the love and support. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.